Hey gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose. My name is XONEVANT, and today I just want to talk to you guys about these rumors that have been going around with the new Xbox, or the Durango if you will, that it's supposed to be supporting this online only, like always on business model that will essentially make it impossible for us to play games unless we're connected to the internet. So this whole online only, always on debate kind of stemmed from some discussions that took place about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, where some of the analysts were saying that Microsoft as well as Sony were going to be moving into this business model where you couldn't play games unless you were connected online. Well, now that PS4 is kind of let the cat out of the bag with what they're doing in their camp, well, we know that they're not going to be supporting this type of business model. But on Twitter the other day, this guy by the name of Adam Orth, the creative director from Microsoft Studios, kind of was in a, he says, a trolling session with a guy from BioWare. So if you haven't seen those tweets, they're all up online. I'm not going to spend my commentary rehashing what was said there because I don't think that is what we should be focusing on, because we don't know if it's true. We don't know if he was trolling. There's still some stipulation there, but I want to use this commentary kind of not to expose him. I'm not trying to deface Microsoft. Whether it's true or not true, I feel like there's a much bigger picture here that we all need to focus on as gamers, as consumers, when you're talking about this online only kind of format. So that's what I'm going to spend this commentary doing. So to me, the bigger picture can be summed up in one word, and that's change. All businesses go through change. All businesses try to innovate and try to set up the market to where they can make the most amount of money while they're servicing their customers. At least in a perfect world, you would think that that would be like enough. Every so often the gaming industry goes through changes, but that should be the outcome. But it seems to be that that's not the way that the industry is heading, at least in this day and age. And I'll kind of elaborate. So I grew up in the retro era, right? I grew up when games, you could buy games at drugstores, you could buy games at grocery stores, you could buy games just about anywhere. It wasn't so monopolized like it is, today. And I could go to a store, I could buy a game, I could come home, I could play it. I either liked it or I didn't, right? There were no post-patch hot fixes, there was no online DLC, no campaign DLC, no multiplayer map packs. You couldn't buy extra guns. There was no online passes, and definitely there was no online-only business model, because the internet was so small at that particular time. It was still in its infancy, and that was just unthinkable, right? It's kind of like jumping from cartridges to CDs. That was unthinkable when I was growing up, and now CDs are the standard. You see what I mean? So things have changed a lot since then. But my point is that I could go to a game store and I could buy a game. I could come home and I could experience 100% of that game, good, bad, happy, or sad, right? The 100% of that game was on the cartridge. I could put it in my console. There was nothing in between me and playing that game. As long as I had the console, as long as I had the game, I was good to go. I didn't have to worry about all these hurdles that we have to hop through now just to be able to hop on a game that we buy and play it. Now, a lot of people would argue that these developers, EA with microtransactions, it's their fault that the industry's tanking and blah, blah, blah. I mean, a lot of people are ready to jump on that bandwagon. And I do think that some of that does have validity. Like, if you're arguing that point, you're kind of on track. But we have to be willing to turn the mirror around on ourselves, right? We're gamers. At the end of the day, we buy things from them, right? And the way that you tell a company or a corporation or a business or anybody that you don't like what they're throwing down is you don't buy it. And it's funny because the same people who will say, man, I can't stand the online pass, they're the same people that's going out and buying, the new titles. They're the same people that are going out and buying the online pass, right? They're the same people who are supporting it. And they'll say things like, just to justify it, they'll say things like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this game because I'm really a big fan of the franchise, but I'll never buy another game with an online pass. And it's kind of funny because I follow a guy here on YouTube called Muzz. He's from L1 Games. I'm going to show you a quick clip of some things he said about EA back in the day. Now, this is back in the day before the online pass was as big as it is now. EA was the only one really doing it, and you could not go on a forum, you could not go on a website without people saying, I'm not buying this nonsense, and this is crazy, and all these social media outlets were blowing up, websites were blowing up basically against EA, And now we look at it, and guess what's happened? It's a standard right now. The way that we, conduct ourselves online with online pass, and we have to buy things and DLC, all that stuff has become a standard that just a while back was not even in anybody's radar, right? And it kind of snuck in and it got us. I'm gonna show you a quick clip from Muzz right here from L1 Games, and this was his kind of prediction video when he was predicting kind of how this thing was going to tie into, the majority of what was going to happen in the gaming industry. This is his take on it. Let's check it out.
Starting with the release of Tiger Woods PGA Tour 11 on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, EA will introduce a new online pass, a one-time registration code included with each brand new copy of the game. The code allows players to access online services, features, and bonus content. Those who purchase the game used can buy an online pass for $10 or sign up for a free 7-day trial. The pass will be implemented for NCAA 11, NHL 11, Madden 11, NBA 11, FIFA 11, and EA Sports MMA as well. The pass offers different features for each title. However, players will not have access to basic multiplayer features if they buy it used. What? No, this isn't about increasing and enhancing their ability to provide online services for you and I. This is about destroying the buy-sell trade business. This is about stopping the sales of used games. This has nothing to do, because you're going to get the same service whether you buy the game used or new, regardless. They're not going to improve anything. This isn't going to help. All this is going to do is line their pockets for anyone who buys the game used. Give them that extra little boost, that extra little sale, those extra little dollars, okay? This doesn't help you. This doesn't help me. This helps EA and no one else. As far as I'm concerned, I refuse to buy any EA title that has this feature. And I recommend you do too. I'm calling for a boycott of all EA games that have an online pass. I really want to see this go away. I really don't want to see it succeed. I want to see EA's sales on these specific games drop. I want them to notice the difference and take this away. And believe me, folks, this is a test market. If game sales for these titles significantly increase from previous year's titles, they will not only see it as a victory, but you can count on that success opening the floodgates for all games to include this feature. Do not let it happen. Let's go into the future. Let's take a look at what the future has to hold. You all buy into this. You take what they give you. You follow like the blind sheep they expect you to be. And it's all a success for them. How long is it going to be before they start selling games that come with codes to play any of the game at all? The way this is going, I see the future where every game comes with a registration code, and the game is useless without it. You switch consoles, hard drives, profiles, or have a family member who wants to play the game, doesn't matter.
So sometimes I don't even know if we realize how powerful we are if we could just be unified as gamers. And Muzz says this all the time in his videos, is that we are millions of gamers strong, right? We could wake up tomorrow and decide to cripple this gaming industry, and we could do that. We could wake up tomorrow and decide to make this gaming industry very successful, and we can do that. We do it with our dollars. Getting on Facebook, guys, and getting on Twitter, or going into somebody's YouTube comment section and bashing them does absolutely nothing. 0% change. It's not gonna affect anything. You can go onto EA's Twitter, you can go onto Microsoft's Twitter and complain about this new, Durango online thing. It's not gonna necessarily do anything. What's going to change things is the way that we purchase things. It's the way that we buy things. That's the change that we can affect. You see what I mean? They make a game, or they try to shovel something at us that is absolutely nonsense. We can't go out and buy it and then take to Twitter and expect things to change. We can't go to Twitter and say, man, this new Durango I just bought is garbage because it's online only. You knew it going into it. You can't complain after the fact. So a good example I can give you is a movie called The Last Castle, starring Robert Redford. These inmates were basically being mistreated at this prison, and all the inmates band together and basically overthrow the entire prison. And you say, well, that's just a typical story. But think about it, though. Think about real life. Think about the prison down the road from where you live. There's tons of inmates tons of inmates, right? And just a few guards. Now, obviously, I'm not encouraging the inmates to band together and, you know, take out all the guards, but you get my point, right? It would be easier for the inmates to band together and just overthrow that prison. But the thing is, and this is what the guards know, and this is what the prison system knows, is that the inmates are they're so not unified, right? Because they hate each other. You know, you got this gang against this gang, you've got this guy who can't stand this guy, and you've got the prison system itself fighting against each other. All the guards have to do is just sit back and, you know, and I'm not saying their job is easy, but you get my point. They just sit back and monitor, right? And they just put out the fires. But they never really have to worry about the entire prison system, you know, trying to take them over, because the prison system is fighting itself. They can't be unified. And it goes back to my point about us gamers. We have the power, if we can get over this nonsense about which console is better, and I want to bash you in some comment and call you names, if we can get over that and say, hey, where do we want this industry to go? Like, where do we want this? If this thing is true, if this 360 thing is true, what are we going to do about it? So here's my question, and it's very simple. If this online-only DRM business model, if it's true, and the new Xbox, this aka Project Durango, if it adopts and implements the practices that we've just talked about, online only, what are you going to do to affect this change? You see what I mean? What are we as gamers going to do to affect change? Now, obviously, if you agree with online only, well, your vote's already made. But if you're against online only, if you think it's a ridiculous business model, then you have to ask yourself, are you going to allow this console manufacturer, in this case Microsoft, to make the change that they want to line their pockets, or are we going to make the change that we want? You see what I mean? I don't mind lining Microsoft's pockets with money, but they're going to have to entertain me. That's their job. And they're going to have to do it in a way that's kind of beneficial for both of us. You see what I mean? So that's the big picture. So I don't know about you guys, but I just don't want everybody in the social media universe to know what I'm doing all the time. I want it to still be a choice that I make. If I go on to Call of Duty Black Ops or Crysis 3 or Battlefield 3 and I play multiplayer, yes, I am saying to the entire world, hey, I'm giving up my privacy right now so that I can play with the entire world. You see what I mean? This is me right here. I'm playing on the internet. But I don't want to sit down and play a campaign, right, where I'm just playing against artificial intelligence and for everybody to know what I'm playing. I mean, I was just prompted on Netflix yesterday to basically click a couple of buttons and basically link it to my Facebook and Twitter so that when I watch a movie on Netflix, everybody in the world who's following me would know what movie I'm watching. Like, that's insane to me. That's a privacy thing that I'm not ready to give up yet. And you know, the trick to the Xbox thing is that if I have to be connected all the time, I will be giving up that privacy all the time. Everybody will always know what I'm doing on my Xbox. And that's not something that I want to give up. So what do you guys think? In the comments below, this is your time to discuss with me. I'll be commenting on this for the next couple of days. What do you think about this always on thing? Do you want it? Do you think it's an okay thing? Do you not see any problem with it? Or are you just completely outraged like I am and you're ready to fight it? But here's the deal. If you say you're going to fight it, if you say you don't believe in it, the only way to make that true, right, is to not buy it, period. If you can't do that, it's not even worth you leaving a comment below. If you're going to leave a comment below and say, no, man, I'll never support a console like this, right? But you're willing to buy it when it comes out, maybe because it has the next Gears of War or the next Halo or whatever game you're interested in, right? If you're going to give in that easy, then it's not even worth leaving a comment. You see what I mean? And I'm not trying to start some revolution here, but I am trying to raise the same issue that Muzz raised back when Online Pass came out, when he predicted, hey man, this is where it's going to go. It's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. We're going to start paying for stuff that they're developing in-house, and then the publisher is saying, nope, no, we're going to cut that out and charge for that, because that's exactly what happened. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's discuss this thing. Nobody's necessarily right or wrong. Remember, this is all stipulation at this point. But let's get this debate going. Let's see where it goes. And I'll be commenting for the next couple of days, and we'll be hashing this thing out. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon.